Be Forever, and at one time it was the Canadian national anthem, later replaced by O Canada.
The one just played now was O Canada, Gene. That was not the Maple Leaf Forever.
No, but I mean when they come on the ice.
All right, you're true enough again. There you are. You're true enough for you for tonight.
All right. Thomas Wright, Stevenson left. Flyers could clinch it tonight for the opening period. Let's go Flyers, and let's go Don Earl.
Thank you, Gene. It's going to be the Flyers defending the goal to our left. Dave Newell signaling goal judges at both ends of the ice. It's going to be Bobby Clark between Lonsbury left, Leach right, against the Sittler line intact, Williams left, and McDonald right. All set to go for the face-off to start Game 6 of this quarterfinal round. On the face-off, Leafs control at his own line is Borje Salming. Angles it off the left wing boards, goes the length of the ice, and it's icing immediately off the bat against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Terry, one statistic I like to throw at you. The Flyers have averaged 37 shots a game as coach Red Kelly looks on from the far side, and the Leafs 27. And you give a club like Philadelphia 36 per game, and you're just not going to win.
With the amount of goal scorers we have, Gene, and the amount of firepower, as Freddie said, if they keep giving you the puck, eventually they're going to put it in your own net.
Okay, the face-off now deep in the Toronto zone to the left of Wayne Thomas. On the face-off, Ron Finn drops it off. Daly gets a drive, kicked out by Thomas to the far wing and cleared back to the Flyers zone by McDonald. It'll be Bob Daly chasing it down, scoots behind his own net, quickly up to Leach, directs it to center ice, but right on the stick of Turnbull. Sittler goes for it, comes back in the Flyers zone to Daly, who crosses left to Jim Watson, up to center ice for Ross Lonsbury. Lonsbury stopped at the Toronto line, and we have an offside called against the Flyers.
Good check there, and the puck came over the blue line in the center ice and then trickled back in as Fred Shero looks on just to the right of Len Red Kelly.
Talking to Freddie today, and I said, are you changing your strategy, Freddie? He looks at me and gives you his best answer. Why?
Gordy McRae just celebrated his birthday last week as a backup goaltender in the absence of Palmatier.
Flyers now going with McLeish along with Dornhofer and Bill Barber. Puck lifted the length of the ice by Bladen, but sliding out to the left to retrieve it is Wayne Thomas. Thompson quickly around to McKinney. McKinney starts out on the right wing. Here's Thompson taking the feed. Drives from the blue line, wide of Stevenson, who takes the carom off the backboards and taps it back to the backboards for Joe Watson. McLeish took his eye off the puck and fanned in his clearing attempt. Now it's Bladen up the right wing for Gary Dornhofer. Dorney goes left side. McLeish taps it behind Carlisle. Off angle shot stopped at the side of the post by Thomas. Back to Joe Watson. Glove save almost misplayed by Thomas. And here comes Thompson to McKinney, and he's the center ice. McKinney breaks with Pellick. Offside is waved off. A drive by McKinney. It's kicked out by Stevenson. Centering pass intercepted by Barber. Ahead to Dornhofer. He's across the Toronto line. Takes the drive. Rebound to Barber. Kick save. Two quick ones by Thomas and Goodwin. Barber keeps the puck in the zone. Turns on the forehead. The drive again is deflected off the mark by Turnbull, who is standing in the slot. Back to LaPointe at the right point. Drives it to the right wing corner. No one there but Ian Turnbull. Turnbull controls. Lead pass for Bob Neely. He's at center ice. Check from behind by Kindrachuk. Puck rolls wide of Stevenson. He clears out. And delay offside is finally called against Toronto. We've got 17:59 to go in the first period. There's no score. Toronto going with Don Ashby between Neely and Boutette. Flyers counter with the Kindrachuk line. Selesky on the right side, Bridgman on the left side. A drive from center ice by Salming. Cut down by DuPont. Quickly up to Kindrachuk, who keeps it on its way to the Leafs backboard. Thomas feeds up his left wing, gets by Neely, and also gets by LaPointe. But backing him up is Moose DuPont. DuPont challenged by Ashby. Feeds across in the left wing for Bridgman. Intercepted by Salming. Salming closing. Can't get a shot off. As LaPointe took the man and not the puck. As Selesky tried to move out. And it's driven back behind the Flyers' net. Kindrachuk goes to the left wing up to Bridgman. Bridgman can't clear it out. Boutette jams it right back to the backboard behind the Flyers' net. DuPont starts out on the right. Lead pass gets by everyone. This will be icing against the Flyers. Salming touches up. Face off at the Flyers' end.
Boya Salming from Karuna, Sweden. Well, right now, Terry, off his play in this series has convinced me that I might have guessed wrong in saying Larry Robinson a runaway choice for the Norris Trophy. You have to feel that Salming can do many more things, and he's doing it with a far less talented team.
He couldn't go very far wrong, Gene, choosing either Borja Salming or Larry Robinson. Freddie Shore right now claims that Borja Salming is the best defenseman in the league.
That international series starting in Vienna today, Canada defeated the United States 4-1.
Goals by Esposito, Paymont, Pronovo, and LaRouche. Face-off to the right of Stevenson. Controlled by the Flyers. Daly scoots behind his own net. Starts out on the left wing. Leads. Lonsbury down the left side. Lifts it to the Toronto backboard. Thomas handles the arm. Leaves it for Randy Carlyle, who's broken up Clark with Lonsbury behind the net. Feeds out front. Leach hits the goal post. Puck cleared up to Williams, but not out. Here's Daly lifting it to the right wing corner for Clark. Clark checked before he can feed out of the corner. In to help out is Lonsbury. He's bumped. Back to Daly. Daly's drive hits the crossbar. A post shot and now a crossbar shot. Puck behind the Leafs. That's Clark. Tried to go back to the corner. Now it's picked up by Tiger Williams, and here come the Leafs. Across to Darryl Sittler. He drives from the blue line partially blocked, but quickly the Flyers intercept. Lonsbury checked after he drives it to the Toronto backboard. McDonald caught a piece of him as the Flyers change in the go. Quickly a lead pass to Turnbull at center ice. Turnbull across the Flyers line, cuts inside, can't get the shot away as he's checked to the corner by Joe Watson. Out of the corner with the puck comes Rick McLeish. McLeish to center ice. Threads his way across the line, drops it off for Bladen, can't get the shot off, and the puck goes harmlessly to the Toronto left wing corner. Turnbull crosses for Tiger Williams. Salming drives the length of the ice. This will be icing against the Leafs. We have 15:42 left in first period play. There's still no score.
Back here in the Gardens right now, Reggie Leach just two good chances on tip-in. One a good shot that he bounced off the post. There, Bob Daly shoots one right there, comes off. Reggie Leach, you can see his stick coming in. Had Thomas moving to the far side of the net, just up and off the crossbar. And just before that, Reggie let a good wrist shot from the slot that dinged off the post also, Don.
Leach right now has scored 3 consecutive goals for the Flyers. The overtime goal on Sunday night and a pair in the 2-0 shutout on Tuesday night. Puck at center ice. Bladen trying to send Dornhofer through. Gets by him. Turnbull in his own zone, crosses right side to Salming, quickly to center ice. Earl Thompson drives from the blue line, but the shot taken away by Tom Bladen. Driven behind the Flyers. McKinney in the right wing corner. Goes to the left wing corner where it's picked up by Ferguson. Back behind the net for Thompson. He's upended by McLeish. Goes back to the right wing corner. No Leaf is there. Joe Watson trying to move it out. He's broken up by Ferguson. Lifts it to the Flyers backboard again. Thompson gives it away to Ferguson inadvertently. Now it's Thompson checked by Dornhofer along the near side, but it's moved to center ice by McLeish. Ahead for Barber. Eludes him. It'll be icing against the Flyers.
Flyer fans, the 10th anniversary edition of the yearbook available with that great first-year nostalgia edition when the Flyers won their first Clarence Campbell Conference. We're looking at a Stanley Cup ring here. That's available to you, that yearbook, for $2 at the Spectrum or $2.50 via mail to Champion Publications, Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia. The zip 19147 is here. They showed the ring worn by Flyers head trainer Jim McKenzie.
Face-off back at the Flyers zone to the right of Stevenson. Ashby against Kindrachuk. Flyers control. Lapointe quickly around the far wing. Gets by everyone. And this again will be icing, or will they wave it off? It's waved off. Carlyle spins away from a Kelly check behind the Toronto net. Boutet tied up by Kindrachuk as they dig for it. Finally, a whistle by Dave Newell. It'll be dropped off when play resumes in the circle to the right of Wayne Thomas.
Pat Boutet, his second year. He's a 25-year-older from Windsor, Ontario. 10 goals, 22 assists last year. And Bob Kelly, with his 22 goals this year, has yet to pick up a playoff point.
The Hound enjoys playing in this building, and he can sure get our team excited when we need him going. So maybe he'll get us going in the early going of this game.
Kindrachuk and Ashby, quick whistle, face-off circle violation. We'll try it again. Another rather surprising statistic, DuPont and Dornhofer, nary a playoff point thus far. All set to go to the right of Thomas in the Toronto zone. Puck goes to the backboard. Kindrachuk trying to dig it loose. Drops it back on the far wing, but it's picked off by Boutet. cleared to center ice. Lapointe has to spin away, gives it off to Holmgren, who lifts the backhander back down into the right wing corner, skips behind the Toronto net. Kelly goes for it, but Carlisle starts out. He's spun around by Holmgren. Kelly's still in there and gets loose. Carlisle ahead for Boutet, right wing. Flies from the red line, long range on Stevenson. Steers it behind the net for Lapointe. Quickly around to Kelly. Charms right out to Lapointe, and he's to center ice. Right wing pass Holmgren. Inside the Toronto zone, has no shot. Lifts it to the backboard. Charms out to the point. DuPont gets a drive. Cut down by Pelican, lifted out of the zone in the far wing. Kindrachuk across the way, lifts up to Kelly. Kelly gets away from his antagonizer. That's Boutet. But Ashby picks off a pass and drives it back into the Flyers' backboard. Behind the net, Lapointe winds it up to Lonsbury on the left wing. He leads Kindrachuk to center ice on the left. Across the Toronto zone. Kindrachuk stops. Wheels away from Sittler, goes to the left wing corner, but Salming intercepts. Up to Boutet. And here come the Leafs on the right wing at center. Salming trying to penetrate, gets across the line. His drive hit either the goaltender stick or the post. It's cleared immediately back to the Toronto zone by Clark, and this will be icing against the Flyers. 13-11 left in first period play. No score.
No pressure apparently on either club as they're skating full out in crisp action. After 6:49, we have no score.
Face-off will be to the right of Stevenson as the Flyers go with Clark, Leach, and Lonsbury on the face-off. Picked up by Clark. Clark slammed down on the blind side, checked by Lanny McDonald. He gets back up. Jim Watson with a loose puck, lifts it out of the zone. Back toward the Toronto line. Clark goes for it. Lifted out of play off the stick of Ian Turnbull. Face-off will be just inside. Inside the Toronto blue line.
The age-old philosophy, he who hesitates gets zonked by Lanny McDonald.
Lanny McDonald come a long ways across the ice, right from his far right wing all the way across to deck Clarkey. But as per usual, Clarkey bounced back up, right back into play, and down ice again with another full head of steam. So the effect of that check didn't deter him at all. He's right back in the game.
All right, now we see Len Kelly is trying to get McDonald and Sittler away from Lonsbury and Clark. Now Kelly's going to have to come back, and Billy Barber goes into the box on the far side. Now we're getting our first bit of linesmanship here. We have 7:03 gone, scoreless first period.
Okay, it's going to be Ferguson against Clark. Daly keeps the puck in play. Now it comes to center ice. Kelly crosses to the right side. Holmgren across the line. Fans as he tries to dump it in deep. Now picked up by Turnbull to Clark. Goes left side. Kelly over for it. Spins around, rolls it in. Holmgren takes it to the left wing corner. Back to Kelly. Lets it go for the left point man. Jimmy Watson's drive blocked and deflected back to center ice by Ferguson. Puck still in play. Jimmy Watson tripped up. Gets inside the line. Can't get a shot off. Puck cleared out to Thompson by McKinney. Thompson lifts it down the left wing board, skips behind the net where Stevenson slows it down, gives it up to Kelly. Poke checked away from him by McKinney. Jim Watson has Ferguson tied up. Jim Watson trying to get away from Ferguson, held up. Ahead for Clark too far, picked up by Kelly, all in the left wing of the Flyers zone. Crosses right side to Daly. Daly trying to send Dornhofer through, and he's tied up by Salming. Puck goes loose to the Toronto backboard as Salming starts out. Now Dornhofer is using the same tactics as Salming slashes Dornhofer, and the puck is back at the Flyers zone. Joe Watson up the left wing. Lets it off the stick of Turnbull to the right wing corner in the Toronto zone. McLeish stays stride for stride with Errol Thompson. He goes down. Salming with the puck. Salming quickly out to Turnbull on the left side. He's at center. Sends Sittler down the right lane. Puck goes behind the Flyers net. Watson checks Sittler off the puck, and it's touched up, and we have an icing called against Toronto.
Terry Crisp, why, when a player skates around the net, does he give a man leeway between the puck carry and the net to come alongside of it instead of hugging tight to the net and screening that chaser, as that time Kelly chased and almost had to play on the puck?
It'll depend on the player. If you watch Bobby Clark when he goes behind the net with the puck, he'll cut in close to the net and give you no advantage whatsoever to get to the inside of him. A lot of times it'll depend on the head of steam you have too, Gene. If you're going too fast, it's tough sometimes to cut the corners sharp. But most of the players will try and keep in close to the net so they can't get you.
I'm surprised.
Wayne Stevenson, the professor right there, the gardien debut of our nets for tonight.
I'm surprised more players don't zonk into the net.
You ever watch Hound Kelly go running across the back of it a few times?
Okay, face off to the left of Thomas. Clark against Sittler. Lonsbury and Leach, the forwards, on either side of Clark. Toronto controls. It's Pelech behind his own net. Starts out on the right wing. Clark chases him to center ice. Thompson slows Pelech down, but the puck goes all the way in on Stevenson. Steers it behind the net to the Flyers' left wing, and Lonsbury picks it up in full swing. He's at center ice. Deals it off to Clark. Clark off the skate of Leach. Puck stopped at the Toronto line as Sittler comes back. He's across the Flyers line. Can't get a shot off. Boutet centers it, but no one there. In to help out is Tiger Williams. Broken up. And now it's Clark at center ice. He's broken up by Pelech. Pelech taken down from behind as Clark ties him up. Now across the Flyers line on the left. Boutet stride. Blocked off by Blade. Clark back on the carom. He's out to center ice. Crisscrosses with Bridgman. Clark across the Toronto line. Has Leach cutting for the net, but can't get the pass away, and here comes Pelech. And we have a penalty coming up, and it's a Toronto call.
I think Sittler knew that time. He caught Clarkie with the elbow, and so for the first time in the series, the Flyers get a power play. 10:39 remaining, first period, no score.
The elbow penalty on Clarkie just inside the blue line. He tries to get him. Clarkie just gets enough out of the way that Sittler only gets a piece of him. You got to know that Red Kelly is sending out McDonald and Sittler. They know that Clarkie's the backbone to our offense when he's out there. They want to tire him out. They want to take as much out of him as possible. So Lanny McDonald corked him a good one earlier. Sittler's taking a couple runs at him. So we'll watch out throughout tonight if they keep chasing Clarkie around.
On the face-off in the Toronto zone, McLeish on the left wing, boys. Double team, gets the pass off to Lonsbury. Tries to hit Dornhofer wide open on the right side. Dornhofer takes Salming to the left wing corner boards. And we get a whistle from referee Dave Newell. Play will be resumed as the face-off will be to the right of Thomas.
General tendency is here to try to get it to Rick McLeish because he makes things happen.
Ricky's got that wrist shot, which we're all know he's quite capable of. Plus, he's got a good slap shot. So, as Fred Shiro says to Mike Nicolak, get that puck to Rick McLeish on the power play.
Ferguson against McLeish on the draw. The linesman is Ron Finn. Toronto controls. Salming checked by Lonsbury. Ferguson trying to clear out. Kicks it, kept in by Barber. Now it's driven into the left wing corner where Lonsbury gives it off to Dornhofer, still in the left wing corner. Dorney looks for the open man. Across to Daly, short side wide. Karam's behind the net to Dornhofer, back in that left wing corner. Dornhofer holds as Lonsbury comes back in the zone. Dorney goes into the corner for Lonsbury, who vacates, comes back to McLeish. Kick save from a short angle by Thomas. Daly to Dornhofer. He's tied up by Turnbull. This is in the right wing corner. Lonsbury in there, waiting for the puck to come loose. Turnbull has got to play it. And Dornhofer takes it away. Dornhofer tries to back pass. He's tied up. Gets loose again. Gets it off to Lonsbury. He's got Daly breaking. Can't get the shot away. And now it's back behind the net again. Goes to the right wing corner and cleared finally by Errol Thompson the length of the ice. 45 seconds left on Sittler's penalty.
We're going to get a hold down here, Don, on Philadelphia against Turnbull with 9:24 remaining in the first period. No score.
Gary
On the playoff series is 21st and 22nd minute for holding Turnbull, trying to come out of the Leafs' defensive left wing corner, killing the power play. 45 seconds remaining on the Sittler penalty, so they'll play 5 aside for that duration. And then the Leafs, no further penalties withstanding, will get a power play of their own for 75 seconds.
You got to figure, Gene, that that's what you call an even up call for them. No way that Dorney was doing anything but checking close in, staying close to the man. The referee Dave Newell decided he was holding in too close and gives Dorney 2.
Face off to the right of Stevenson. Don Ashby against Orest Kindrachuk. Ashby gets it back to Pelech at the left point. Pelech looks, drives wide of Stevenson. Back to Carline at the right point. He keeps the puck in the zone for Ashby, who drives. In on Stevenson, almost changes direction off the stick of Bob Neely. Now it's on the Flyers left wing. Jim Watson ahead for Selesky. Can't control it. Center ice, it's Carlisle driving it back in again. Jimmy Watson clears back to center. Carlisle challenged. Picked up now on the left wing by Selesky as the Flyers break. Selesky across the line has to hold up as Jimmy Watson had penetrated. Selesky now ragging the puck at center ice. Crosses on the left to Jim Watson, all at center ice. Drives it inside the zone. Tried to click with Selesky on a crisscross. And now Sittler is back. The Leafs are on the power play. Puck deep in the Toronto zone as Pelech moves it up the left wing for Neely. Crosses right side at center ice. McDonald to Sittler across the line. His shot is blocked by DuPont. Swept to the corner, but Sittler intercepts. Goes behind the net to the far corner. Jimmy Watson can't clear out. Salming drives it back in behind the net. Centering pass. Stevenson almost caught outside. Score as Turnbull drives it in.
Wayne made the bad gamble there. Not only lost the stick, but a goal.
Wayne went out of his net, behind the net, to try and clear that puck. And now we have a new sign man in the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens also to rival ours. And Turnbull gives the Leafs a 1-0 lead on a power play goal. I mentioned Steph went behind the net to stop it. Dale Sittler would beat him to it, just spun it right out. It goes through a maze of bodies all the way out to Turnbull, who doesn't even stop it, just comes straight in, and it goes all the way shoulder high, and Steph can't get back in time. As you said, Gene, he had lost his stick, was out of the play, and didn't recover in time, so Turnbull lets a shoulder high shot from the blue line all the way in through a maze of bodies to give the Leafs a 1-0 lead in this game.
Turnbull gets that.
Williams and Sittler are both picking up assists as the Flyers now forced again to play catch-up. The kid line of Boudreau, Warner, and Evans is now on. Puck at the Flyers' right point as Salming is dumped by Kelly. Kelly to center ice for Paul Holmgren. Cuts to the right wing. Goes outside of Turnbull. Goes to the Toronto right wing corner. Bumped by Boudreau, but both of them still on their feet. Kelly battles for it. Boudreau check. And now here we go. Holmgren against Boudreau.
And that quickly stopped. And now Holmgren knocks Boudreau again. And these are bad penalties, Terry. And the Leafs are going to come up with a power play again. And that's the last thing you want at this juncture. They're all piled up in the corner to the left of Wayne Thomas. And now it's Holmgren and Boudreau, the young tough-headed now. They're being held off by Dave Newell and number 28, Ron Finn, the linesman, Neil Armstrong, subbing Holmgren out on the perimeter now of the problem. And Brett Kelly over there. Glad this is stirring up.
The one thing we wanted to do, Gene, was to maybe stay away from penalties, but Paul and the Hound went in the corner, stirring up a little bit. Boudreau come in, took a run at Paul earlier. Paul come back. You could see him looking over to see who did get him. They're still going hot and heavy down in the corner. Big Paul Holmgren still wants a piece of who's ever in the corner doing the pushing to the Leafs right now. I'm just not too sure who it is. Hound Kelly's in there. Mel Bridgman wants a piece of it.
Evans, and I think everybody's going to go now. Let's see. Warner's 25, Boudreau 19, and Evans 16. Harold Ballard, along with Jim Gregory and King Clancy. And we've got Holmgren, I think, is gone. Holmgren's gone.
Neil Armstrong is right there is where he comes in and tries to get him. Paul sees it, takes a look. Turnbull comes in and hits him. The Hound just jolts Turnbull. Here's where Paul gives him a little bit of an elbow right coming through there, and he'd already had 2 calls. Gives him a cross-check across the head right there, and down he goes. Paul is heading for the gate, so I'm not sure what. Paul gives him a little tap right there with his left hand as he's coming up, so we have 7:41 remaining in the first period. Toronto 1, Flyers nothing.
Here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens, the Leafs have just scored a power play at 11:43. Turnbull is 4th of the playoffs from Sittler and Williams. And Paul Holmgren now has picked up a game misconduct, along with whatever else transpired prior to his set 2 with young Paul Boudreau, with Bobby Clark leaning over the dashers on the far side with his former line mate Bob Kelly. And now let's see what else is going to come out of all of this. Nothing else? Nothing else is on the board.
Over at our bench right now, there's referee Dave Newell, who has just assessed a game misconduct to Paul Holmgren, which will give him the rest for the rest
Paul
of the night.
also picks up a 5-minute major. That's what we see up on the board.
That's the one thing we want to stay away from. Freddie Shero right now looking over the situation. See, there's Professor Wayne Stevenson down there. Captain Bobby Clark looking on. You can bet he's not very happy with referee Dave Newell either. So, Gene, I think that's 5 for fighting for Paul and a game misconduct. So Paul is gone for the night.
Well, that's one of those rare times, Terry, where you'll see a fighting call with no retaliatory penalty on the other side. So now the Flyers, who have popped up 9 power play goals in 27 opportunities to the Leafs, that's 1 every 3. And now the Leafs get their 5-minute power play. And here's where the Flyers, who were blown out by power plays in the first 3 games, are really going to have to steal. And I mean with a double E and not an EA.
Gene, you know that power plays in themselves will just kill you. In this whole series, you mentioned numerous times, and even the fact that you kill off the 5 minutes touch wood that we do, it tires out a lot of your hockey players. You're taking a lot of steam out of them in the early going in this game. So I said numerous times, we want to try and stay away from them, but right now we're into a 5-minute one. So hopefully our fellows will get the legs under them, kill it off, and we'll go from there. But the Leafs have a potent power play this whole series against us.
Now, I can't recall ever seeing, in recent memory at least, a 5-minute fighting, as Gene pointed out, with no one else that he fought with, plus a game misconduct, with no penalty minutes against Toronto whatsoever. Leafs on a 5-minute power play. Through center ice comes Sittler. Right wing pass across the Flyers line. McDonald drives it around behind the Flyers net to the near side. The Toronto left wing. Turnbull to the left wing corner for Sittler. Centering pass splits between the defense all the way back to the late zone as Salming is on the gallop for it. Forechecking for the Flyers. Selesky quickly pass up to McDonald at his own line. Slowed down by a poke check thrown by Kindrachuk. Here comes Salming across the line. Sends it ahead for Williams. Broken up by Kindrachuk. It's loose under Kindrachuk's skates. Driven to the backboards. Jim Watson gets the carom. Around to Selesky. He can't clear it out. Williams trying to dig it loose in the Flyers' left wing corner. Centering pass picked off by Jim Watson. Goes behind the net to the far wing. Kindrachuk can't clear out. Kept in by McDonald. Crosses to Sittler. Does come to center ice, so the Leafs will have to clear. Sittler waits for Williams to clear. Goes to McDonald on the right wing. Dumps it to the Flyers' backboard. Daly cuts him off. Picked off by Dave Williams. Comes back to Salming at the right point. Salming crosses, but it comes to center ice as he tried to go left side for Turnbull. Flyers change as Clark is on. Replacing Kindrachuk. Now it's McDonald from his own blue line to Turnbull at center. Turnbull up to Dave Williams. It goes the length of the ice. It will be icing against Toronto. And we're down to 3:33 left on that 5-minute power play for the Leafs.
Tomorrow morning when you get up, turn to WCAU Radio News 1210. 1210 will get you up and keep you up on everything. News, sports, weather, traffic, business. It's what you need to know when you need to know it. WCAU Radio News 1210, your total news and information station. Dave Tiger Williams goes off as we have 3:33 remaining on the penalty. The major to Paul Holmgren. 6:14 in the first period, 1-0 Toronto.
Flyers have Clark and Lonsbury as penalty killers, as the face-off will be in the circle to the left of the Toronto net. Leafs go with Ashby between McKinney and Boutet. Defensively, and they also have Errol Thompson up there as McKinney drops back to a defensive post. McKinney with a puck behind his own net. Starts out, lead pass to Ashby on the left wing to center. Ashby drives it to the Flyers' right wing corner, or tries to, but it caroms off of Joe Watson. Comes near side, gets by McKinney along the boards, and goes the length of the ice. Back behind the Leafs net. Set up by Wayne Thomas for Errol Thompson. 3:10 left on the power play for Toronto. Thompson starts out on the left side of his net. Cuts to the middle as he hits center. Lifts it to the Flyers' right wing boards. Goes to the backboard. Boutet there first. Checked into the backboards by Joe Watson. Puck loose. Comes out to Thompson. Blocked off by Lonsbury, and Clark controls. Lifts it, but hits Neil Armstrong with it. Lonsbury gets it loose across the Toronto line. Here comes Lonsbury, and he cuts back to center ice as the Flyers now are trying to rag the puck and kill off valuable time. Bladen in his own zone, almost intercepted by Neely. Puck caroms in on Stevenson. Back to Bladen. Lifts it over the head of Bruce Boudreau, the length of the ice. Thompson back on it. Lifts it up his left wing boards for McKinney. Quickly crosses on the right side to Warner. Broken up at center ice, and Warner gets it right back. Warner across the Flyers line to Boudreau on the left wing. Takes the drive. Good save by Stevenson as that one was labeled low far corner. Centering pass out of the right wing corner. Cleared by Bill Barber, the length of the ice. 2 minutes left on the power play advantage for the Leafs. Flyers down 1-0. Puck comes to center ice. Controlled by DuPont. Loses it. Boudreau is offside delayed, and it's cleared back to center ice. Salming has it, as it appeared as though they might have had one extra man on the ice. Puck driven to the Flyers' right wing corner. DuPont clears it by Salming the length of the ice. Wayne Thomas sets it up behind his own net for Turnbull. McLeish now on for the Flyers, along with Gary Dornhofer. Lead pass comes to Darryl Sittler through center ice. Drives it to the Flyers' backboard. Stevenson puts it behind his net for Dornhofer. Takes a heavy bump from Dave Tiger Williams. Turnbull's drive from the left point kicked out. Sittler tied up. Daly gets the puck. Lifts it to center ice, and Salming controls. 1:12 left on the advantage for the Leafs. Started out to be a 5-minute power play. Sittler left wing through to Turnbull. Drive blocked by DuPont, and Daly clears it out of the zone. Lanny McDonald back on it at center ice. McDonald to Sittler down the left wing. Here he comes. Centering pass taken away by Clark. Clark drives it out, but kept in now by Salmi. Through a screen, kick save Stevenson to Turnbull at the left point. His drive wide on the short side. Kept in by Salmi at the right point. Down the right wing boards for Sittler. Intercepted by Bridgman. Bridgman holds. Out to center ice. Crisscrosses with Clark. Bridgman from long range. Glove save Thomas. Drops it out for Sittler, and here come the Leafs. Sittler to center ice. Left wing pass, a right wing pass for Salmi. Back on the left to Turnbull. Crossing. Stopped by Stevenson. Jim Watson can't clear out. Blocked out by Sittler on the far wing. Jim Watson now clears at the length of the ice as we're down to 7 seconds left on the advantage for Toronto. From behind the Leafs net comes Mike Pellet. Crosses to Carlisle on the right. Carlisle across the line on the right wing, stops, rolls it in towards Stevenson, picked off on the slot as Bladen. Moves it to center ice, and we have a whistle stopping play, and I wonder, too many men on the ice?
Yeah, and I think it's against Philadelphia. So good heavens, the Flyers just kill 5 minutes, and they make a tactical error and pick up another 2. And the Flyers, obviously, and that was called by Ron Finn. And now they're talking over there, Finn and Dave Newell along with Neil Armstrong, and now the call is being made. And they're discussing, and Neil Armstrong's trying to explain to Bob Kelly apologetically, saying, look, that's that. I just wonder if they're calling it came out of the penalty box too soon, although it appeared well after the time expired. And they're talking to Kelly, and Joe Watson or Jimmy Watson, number 20. Fred Shearer looks on. Far side, the Leafs leading 1-0. They have a 5-minute power play just killed 8 seconds ago. Let's pick it up. An illegal substitution. And I don't know what that is, Don, and I'm going to have to go to my record book.
I think you were probably right when you hit it on the head that maybe the penalized player did come out before
I think
first stoppage.
I think what happens, he might not have gotten over to the close enough to the bench from the penalty box to make the change, and that's what Ron Finn was calling. The man leaving the penalty box, crossing to the far side, and the change was not made properly. So that has to be a bench penalty against the team for illegal substitution. And Don, I think in 10 years of doing Flyers hockey, that's the first time I've ever heard that specific call. It comes at 17:27.
I've never seen it myself either. Face off midway between the Flyers line and center ice. And this will chew up the bulk of what remains in this period, and the Flyers down by a goal, 1-0. Power play goal by Ian Turnbull, his 4th goal of the playoffs from Sittler and Williams. Carlisle from his own zone up to center ice for McKinney. McKinney puts it to the Flyers' left wing corner. Stevenson takes the carom. Blocked out by McKinney in the right wing corner. Returns it to the left wing corner behind the net. Kindrachuk battles for it. Gets it away from Ferguson and cuts straight up the middle. Takes the shortest route, the most direct. Kindrachuk across the Leafs line, but offside on the left wing was Don Selesky, so the play goes a glimmering.
With all that the Flyers have, that has become the premier backup penalty killing unit. Selesky and Orest Kindrachuk, the Bird who skates off down the far side, who has 2 shorthanded goals this year, and Kindrachuk, another of the 11 that the Flyers pumped in during the playoffs. And the Flyers now are going to switch to Clark along with Lonsbury, as out comes the big Sittler line.
Barring anything additional, the Flyers will be at full strength in the final 33 seconds of this, the first period of play. Sittler and Clark just outside the Leafs line. Clark gets a skate on it, but Dave Tiger Williams controls. Circles, goes left side for Turnbull, still in the Leaf zone. Now at the line, Sittler drops it out for Salming on the right. Stops, back to Sittler. Broken up by Bob Daly, but immediately picked up by Salming. Caroms off of Daly to Jim Watson, who lifts it the length of the ice. Wayne Thomas sets up Salming. A minute left on the penalty, a minute 33 left in the period. Up to center ice, gets by Sittler to the Flyers' left wing corner. Touched up and will probably have an offside called against the Leafs, as it appeared as though Sittler touched up first.
Yes, and I think the fans initially booed, thinking, no, it wasn't icing because Sittler got there first, but Ron Finn clearly signaled that offside was the situation on Darryl Sittler. 52 seconds remaining. We'd like to point out that Terry Cripps was on his way down now to our broadcast booth at the ground level to discuss the momentum of the play for the Flyers with Reggie Leach.
Face off inside the Leafs line as Clark draws against Darryl Sittler, this year's current playoff point leader with 18. On the face-off, Clark draws it all the way back to his own zone across the way. DuPont tracks it down, lifts it by everyone back to the Leafs zone where Turnbull has it. Turnbull quickly up to center ice, left wing to Williams, goes right side of McDonald, gets by him, and again DuPont clears back to center. 35 seconds left on the Toronto advantage. Salming to Turnbull on the left wing at center, across the Flyers line, drops it off for Williams, picked off by Lansbury, bounces high in the air. Williams gets a piece of it, goes behind the Flyers net, gets by DuPont up the far wing, crosses to Turnbull on the left side. The drive deflected by Bob Daly to the far wing. He's limping. DuPont gets a shot at it and clears it to center ice. Turnbull controls. Comes left side for Tiger Williams. Williams gets by Daly, closing. Puck goes off his stick out front to Sittler, who was standing right on the doorstep. No one moving him out. A drive off the left wing as Williams loses his stick, and Lansbury on his right wing in the Flyers end skates it to center ice. Flyers back full. Lansbury lifts it down the left wing boards, goes behind the Toronto net. We're down to the final 15 seconds of period number 1. Puck cleared by everyone, but it will not be icing as Joe Watson tracks it down. Comes out of his own zone to center ice. 7 seconds, 6, 5, and time is running out as we come to the end of period number 1. The bell sounding with the score, Toronto 1, the Flyers nothing.
Down here in the interview area with our first intermission guest, you could call him a lot of names, Mr. Rifle, Mr. Playoff, Mr. Conn Smythe, whatever. Reggie, you seem to dwell on the playoffs when they come around. There's a lot of players that we call them money players in our racket for the simple reason we love you because you're bringing the big checks in playoffs time, but you seem to just go in overdrive when playoffs show up.
Yeah, that's true, Terry. You know, it's I think it's more of a challenge than during the year, and you know, it's in the playoffs. You know, you only if you lose 4 games, you're out. You go home early, and I think that's one of the biggest things why you know I'm always hepped up for the playoffs, and I just hope that you know that we can knock off Toronto tonight.
Reggie, of all the players I've met or played with, you've got to be one of the coolest. You never show pressure, excitement, or anything. Many times I've sat with you and looked at you and you just sort of shake your head and smile. Nothing seems to get you upset. The penalties tonight, we've said it the whole series. You come in and you say, we're taking a lot of penalties. Reggie, how much is that going to take out of our club? Well,
you know, it's gonna hurt the 4 guys or the 5 guys that kill our penalties. You know, they were just out there. They killed 7 minutes straight, and you know, it's going to hurt like guys like Clark, you know, and that, and it doesn't, you know, like for guys like myself and Howland that don't kill penalties, you know, we're sitting on the bench and we're getting cold again, and that's hurting us too.
So we got to stay away from them. Talk with Gary Innes when he joined our club, Reggie. You're famous for your slap shot. Your wrist shot is also as dangerous as your slap shot goes. Gary Innes said you're the only player he knows of. When he played against you, he said, Reggie Leach has got to be the luckiest shooter I've seen in the league. After he was here for about a week practicing, he says, Reggie Leach has got to be the best shooter. Reggie, you pick your spots. You're not shooting that slap shot blind when you're coming down off that right wing.
Not really. You know, my favorite spots are, if I can come out the right side, you know, is between the legs, or else the far glove side along the ice. You know, it's something like that. If you keep it low enough, there's no way that he's going to move his leg out fast enough.
Reggie, you've got the record right now for the most goals in a Stanley Cup series by a player. 19 goals. You set that last year. You're one of the few players I've met, in fact, the only second one I know of, that has won the Conn Smythe Trophy and not been on the winning team that won the Stanley Cup. The other one was Glenn Hall. When we were in St. Louis, he won when Montreal beat us out in 4 straight. Reggie, what can we look for the rest of this game from our club?
I think you're going to see our club playing a little different in the second period. I think we're going to sort of take the game to them because we're one goal down now, and we'll have to go all out, and I hope we can wrap it up tonight.
Reggie, back in, join the fellas, get a bit of a breather. Thanks a lot. Go out and get us a tie out there and a win. Thanks for joining us, Reggie. Now back upstairs to the gondola and Gene Hart.
Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens in the gondola, thank you, Terry Crisp. 1-0 Leafs, and the game started off furiously with the Flyers getting a couple of good opportunities early when Reg Leach first on a shot off a draw and then on a deflection off a Bob Daly shot hit the post behind backup goaltender Wayne Thomas, who's the story now for the Leafs. Nothing happened statistically till Darryl Sittler went off about 9.5 minutes through the period for elbowing Bobby Clark. The Flyers continued to press, but then they picked up a series of penalties, the first to Gary Dornhofer, and that resulted in the Leafs goal at 11:43, with Sittler and Williams getting the assist on Turnbull's 4th power play goal of the playoffs and his 4th overall, right from the blue line up the slot as Stevenson had gone behind the net to challenge Sittler, lost the stick, was slow in covering and tried to make a play through a maze of players without a stick, but it went high over his left shoulder for the score, and the Leafs led 1-0. Later, Paul Holmgren took on a one-man challenge against Bruce Boudreau, picked up a 5-minute major for fighting, plus a 10-minute game misconduct. The Leafs attacked every man up, couldn't score, and just after the replacement for Holmgren came back on the ice, the Flyers picked up an illegal substitution penalty and skated through the latter part of that first period, almost 7 minutes short-handed, but held off. The Leafs leading 1-0, out-shooting Philadelphia 8-7, with the Flyers picking up 4 of the game's 5 penalties. The L.A.-Boston game will start 11 o'clock Eastern Time. That's the other quarterfinal in action tonight. And hang on now as our intermission activities will continue after this. Back here at Maple Leaf Gardens, Gene Hart with our guest Frank King Clancy, who's been with the Maple Leafs in some capacity or other since 1931. And King, I'm going to make you smile now. Do these names bring memories to you? Lauren Chabot, Harry Dara, Stuart Adam, Charlie Conacher, Harvey Jackson, Joe Primo.
Joe, Gene, you're going back a long, long way. These are great names. They were great hockey players, and I enjoyed playing with them. I had a wonderful time, as you say. I've been in Toronto here all my life, except for 11 years that I refereed in the National Hockey League. And I want to tell you something. These fellas have their work cut out for them now. I'd hate to be a referee in these games.
Now, the names I mentioned played with you on the Leafs' first Stanley Cup championship club in 1932-33.
That's right. I came here in 1930-31, Gene, but I was with Ottawa for 9 years before that, and I was on the Stanley Cup there for we had 3 Stanley Cup teams in Ottawa. Had some great teams in Ottawa, too.
What made that line of Jackson, Primo, and Conacher, nicknamed the Kid Line, so good?
Well, I have to think that we had 2 powerful shots on the wings, and we had a great playmaker in Primo at center. Conacher could shoot a puck as hard as any man that I ever saw, and Jackson could make plays. They were a great line, but to me, the game now is, truthfully, I enjoy it better than I enjoyed those games, because those games were very, very close. These games, of course, are a little close to playoff hockey, but to me, the people say old-time hockey. Listen, there's nothing like the present-day hockey. These guys are great out here. This Philadelphia club here is a tough club. Well, you saw what they did there. They held the Toronto club out for 7 minutes. And I want to tell you, that's some feat to hold this club of ours out for 7 minutes, because this is where we have played very, very well all season. And, of course, your hockey club, well, I can't say enough for them. They're a great hockey club. Clark is the first time I've ever seen Bobby Clark getting hit tonight, and he took an awful shot, and I said to Harold Ballard sitting with me over there, I said, Clark is finished. The first thing I know, he's down in our end and nearly put the puck in our net.
We're going to be back with King Clancy after this.
TAF-TV, Channel 29, Philadelphia, a Taft station.
Back here, Gene Hart with Frank King Clancy of the Leafs. And how much have lights in the Zamboni machine done to revolutionize hockey?
I think that's the biggest innovation that they've ever had in the National Hockey League or in any other league. When we played here, we used to just go out there and, play the periods and skate in ruts in the third and second and third periods. Now you've got a new sheet of ice every period, and it certainly helps to speed the game up.
You'd have lasted till you were 60 with new sheets.
Oh, I don't think so, Gene.
Our guest has been Frank King Clancy, and for being our wonderful guest and being such a wonderful human being, we'd like to present you with the following gifts.
Drive sails wide of Perron's glove off the stick of Savard. Centering pass in tight from Shutt, who took a good pass from Lafleur off the left wing board. Shutt in front to Savard, score! And the Canadians take a 2-1 lead with only 35 seconds left in the first period.
Bad blind pass behind the net with nobody there but Shutt, and then bang home the goal, and Canadians lead, and at 19:25.
Ouch. A good alert play. Those hurt the last minute. A goal at any time, but especially in the last minute of play. Steve Shutt made a good alert play for the Canadians. He saw the puck coming behind our net. He just stepped in behind Bernie, cut off the pass, and Serge Savard very wisely moved in from his position on right point. He just moved unmolested into the slot. Shutt found him all alone. Savard didn't even bother to stop that puck. He just had a quick wrist shot goal that cleanly beat Bernie Perrant up high on the stick side. So that puts the Montreal Canadiens ahead 2-1 with 35 seconds remaining in the first period. Serge Savard from Shutt.
And for Lemaire on the year, that's number 28. And as Gene pointed out, coming from near retirement to having a fantastic year. Off the face-off, the Flyers advance it to the Montreal zone. Dryden cuts it down and ties up play as he doesn't want to take any chances in the Montreal zone with only 22 seconds left on the clock.
Terry, good centering pass by Shutt as Jacques Lemaire picked up 300, and they're going to announce that now. Let's pick it up.
Jacques Lemaire's goal was his number 300 of his career in the National Hockey League regular season play.
Face off to the left of Dryden. Pierre Bouchard winds up behind his own net to the far side. Flag down by Lonsbury. Through a screen, almost had Dryden going the wrong way. Centering pass, no one in the slot except Montreal players. And it's cleared back to the Flyers end by Pete Mahovlich as time ticks away. 5 seconds left in the period, and that should be pretty much it. 3, 2, 1. And the siren goes to end the first period of play with the score. Montreal 2, the Flyers 1.
Because today, just as in 1842, every
Farm Gene Hart along with guest analyst Terry Crisp and Don Earl, 2-1 Canadians. There were 4 penalties, 3 to Philadelphia, and each team picked up a power play goal. The Flyers first came at 5:40, make that 5:47. Selesky from the right side, number 15 on the year, from Oris Kindrachuk and Harvey Bennett. But the Canadians got that back with Jimmy Watson off serving 2 minutes when Cornwaya had one deflected off Tommy Bladen's skate from the left wing corner. His 22nd of the year, the 399th of his career. Lafleur and Mahovlich got the assist at 12:40, and then at 19:40, just 20 seconds, or actually less, 19:35, 25 seconds left in the period. It was Lemaire who got his 300th of his career, the 28th of the year, as he deflected home a shot from Savard, with Schutt getting the other assist. The Flyers losing the puck behind their own net. That kind of play has cost them trouble all night. So it's 2-1 Canadiens. The shot's 12-8 for Montreal.
Thank you, G. We mentioned numerous times, you know, this is a 60-minute hockey, but the best of times. But the Canadians, we feel that if you can contain them in the first 5 minutes, and the last 5 minutes of each period, you can put them on the run. They're dangerous all the time, but we've got to contain them in their own end. We've mentioned numerous times about their mobile defensemen. Tonight, so far, their defense have hurt us.
All right, 2-1 the score, and our intermission activities will continue after this.
Back here at the Forum after 1 period of play, the score is 2-1 Montreal, and what's been one of the better games of the year between these two clubs, at least thus far. Our guest, publisher of the Hockey News, the Bible of Hockey, Ken McKenzie. Ken, it's getting so that you're a perennial visitor of ours here in the booth in Montreal. It's about the only chance we get a chance to find you. You're traveling as much as we are these days.
Well, it's always nice to come on with you, Don, and I certainly enjoy it. It wouldn't be a season if I didn't get on with you at least once.
Ken, how many years is this for the Hockey News?
We're in our 30th season right now. We're like the hockey teams. We go by seasons. 30th season or 30th year, Don. And honest to gosh, it just seems like it was just yesterday.
Of course, a lot has been talked about, a lot has been written, and still is being written every day in the daily newspapers about the problems in sports. But yet when you see a game like the Flyers and the Canadians here tonight, you forget about all those problems, because this is really what hockey is all about.
You bet. This is one of the finest periods of hockey I've seen this season, and I know the Montreal fans feel the same way, because we're watching the 2 best teams in hockey right now, Philadelphia Flyers and Montreal Canadiens. The 2 best teams by far. I'll make a prediction right now that they'll meet in the finals in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I think that's pretty safe.
These 2 teams, you bet, the best teams in hockey, and I would say the 2 best franchises. Certainly Philadelphia has to be the best, if not the second best, and I think Montreal is it's between the 2 of them. Just great franchises. Too bad they don't have more franchises like that in the National Hockey League.
Of course, as we've often said, the success of any sports franchise, hockey, of course, is what we're talking about, has got to start right at the very top and permeate the entire organization. And it ends up showing the end result on the ice down below.
Well, Ed Snyder, the chairman of the board of the Flyers, done a magnificent job since he took over the team since inception. And what I like about the way he's handled the club is he's got lots of good people around him, and he's given them full responsibility. He's trusted his employees, let them go their own way, and he has made many mistakes. He's got an outstanding general manager, coach, publicity department, every phase of it. And if you look at the press and radio guide, Don, you'll see that there's more personnel listed with the Philadelphia Flyers front office than any other NHL club, and every one of those fellas does a great job. And I know in my travels, you know, I hit every city and every league, and it's always a pleasure to visit the Spectrum and see the people at the Flyers, because they've got a real good organization. As you say, it permeates from the top, and you know, like the old saying, the owner that has his foot on the bench gets the great results.
Okay, we'll talk more with Ken McKenzie, a little hockey and a little newspapers talk, and we'll be right back right after this timeout.
Schaefer Croissants, it's beer.
Croising gives Schaefer its consistent great taste.
Drink it down, celebrate, it tastes consistently great. Consistently great.
WTAF-TV Channel 29, Philadelphia. Taft Broadcasting, serving the Delaware Valley.
Back here at the Montreal Forum, we're talking with the publisher of the Hockey News, oftentimes called, and we look at it as the Hockey Bible, Ken McKenzie. Ken, you get a lot of mail, I'm sure, in the course of a week or a month during the hockey season. Give us some of the reflections, some of the feelings you get of what people are feeling out there about our great game of professional hockey.
Well, we get a lot of mail, and some of the letters, they're strong for overtime. A lot of people think that they should bring back overtime. You know, they had it years ago, and it was stopped really as a war measure. A lot of people think they should have that 10-minute sudden death overtime after every league game. Other people think that the game has gone too much this anti-violence, but they think to see a little more rugged play. They think that the game misses something today. Some people talk about a merger with the WHA. Other people think that maybe hockey would be better, the National Hockey League, if they had a few less franchises and strengthen up the fewer franchises, but strengthen those up with the players that are on the weak franchises right now. A lot of people think that the Hockey News should put more in about Canadian college hockey and not so much about the U.S. college hockey.
On the subject, what is the future as far as the NHL is concerned with U.S. college hockey players?
Well, I think this is where the hockey players from the National Hockey are going to come from in the future. They're going to come out of the U.S. college ranks. As you know, Don, they're coming up more and more from the U.S. college ranks. And we get a lot of letters. We're getting more letters from people in the United States about the U.S. college hockey, and we're increasing our coverage. We're 2.5, 3 pages now, where we used to only be 1 page, and we try to cover all the major conferences. I think that's the coming area to which to cover.
I know. I look forward to it because it gives me a chance to find out what the various colleges, of course, New England, where I came from, the Minneapolis, Duluth area, the Colorado, Denver area, where some more, and Michigan is coming on real strong. Time is always a problem. Hey, if you are just getting involved in the game of hockey, Ken McKenzie has an offer he'd like to make to you, and I think it's a good one.
Yes, anybody would like a free introductory copy of the Hockey News, all I have to do is write to the Hockey News, Box 248. That's 248, Montreal, Canada. We'd be glad to send him a free introductory copy.
Okay, Ken McKenzie, publisher of the Hockey News, our guest, and for being our guest, these...
That's it, Charlie! No, Pa, no! I'll tell you why you didn't find him. Because he ain't dead, that's why. Somebody must have some reason for hiding him. Wait a minute. Them blackbirds. Them blackbirds, the ones that found him.
No, that can't be, Pa. It was them that brought Willie's body into the sheriff. They'd have said something if they found that other fella.
Yeah, he's right, Pa. You know how they are about shooting and such. Hell, they didn't even raise a frown when we were teasing that girl.
Well, if that's the truth, there's only one thing left. He's hurt, and he's crawled off somewhere to lick his wounds. If he's hurt as bad as you think he is, he ain't gone far, neither. Now, I want him found. I want y'all boys to go search every cabin, every gully, every shack until you find the man that killed your brother.
Well, we'll find him, Pa.
Yeah. If he's dead, I want to know it. But if he's alive, wouldn't that be pretty?
I never figured hell for angels. Maybe I'm not dead.
You'll be fine. Just fine.
Considering I never expected to wake up at all, I guess it must be.
For 2 days, we did not think you would live. But the last 2 days, you've slept like a lamb.
I've been out for 4 days?
On Thursday, you were among us for a few minutes and took some soup from Mother Tice. You do not remember?
No. I remember you.
My name is Erica, but you must call me Miss Hanks.
Yes, Miss Hanks.
I will get you some food.
Where's my gun?
I do not know. There was only this.
As men find out I ain't dead, they're gonna come looking for me.
They will not come here.
Why not?
This is the Bruderhof.
What?
The Bruderhof. Except it is not really a Bruderhof yet. Just a town where no one lived, and we stopped here because many of our people were ill.
Are you gonna stay here?
It has not yet been decided, but we are building a church. And if we stay, we must also build a wall to keep the world out. It is the way of the Simonites.
Simonites? Is that what you're called?
Yes, after Simon Peter. You have read the New Testament?
My ma used to read the Bible to us every night.
Mr. McCann, the elders...
How did you know my name?
When I found you, you asked that the word of your death be sent to your mother.
Did you?
No, you did not die, praise God.
Praise God. What were you saying about the elders?
Chris, the explanation on that illegal substitution was the fact that the Flyers failed to place a man in the penalty box to serve the penalty for Paul Holmgren. The book clearly states that the only way you can bring a man back on the ice following such a penalty is from the penalty box only, and the Flyers brought him off the bench instead, and there's your illegal substitution.
Don, you have, in that 5-minute penalty, you have any length of time within the 5 minutes. Say you want to let 4 minutes go by, then put one of your players in the box, fine and dandy. You're cutting it a little narrow at that time. If you don't get a stoppage in play in that last minute, then like what's happened to us right there, we didn't put our man in. They had a long whistle go, no stoppage in play. The 5 minutes come up. Our man come over off the bench, which is the illegal substitution. We would have been better off, as I mentioned to you, just to play 4 men until we got a whistle and then put a man, say if he had to go over, step in and step out again, which we didn't. So.
Or even forcing a whistle with an icing call.
Right. These things you don't think of right on the spur of the moment, Don, and the pressure of playoff hockey and whatnot, so we got penalized for that.
Penalties in that period, 3 to the Flyers, 1 to Toronto, and the Flyers 1 for 3 on the power play, and that's been the lone score thus far. Ian Turnbull's 4th goal of the playoffs. Assists go to Sittler and Williams. Don't forget, if the Flyers play on Sunday night, it will be an 8 o'clock game, and it will be on WTAF TV along with WCAU radio. That's if the Flyers play Sunday night, whether it be against Toronto or the opening game against Boston in the semifinals. It will be an 8 o'clock game, and it will be seen locally on TV 29 and heard on CAU radio. All set for the second period. Let's go Flyers. Let's go Gene Hart.
Thank you, Don Earl. Sittler, Williams, and McDonald with Turnbull and Salming. Leach and Longsbury centered by Clark with Daly and Jimmy Watson. Dave Newell, the referee. Neil Armstrong and Ron Finn, the linesman. They signal right for the goal judge behind Stevenson, left the goal judge behind Wayne Thomas, who was tested early. And then the Leafs kept the Flyers pretty well away in the second half of the period because of Philadelphia skating most of the second half shorthanded. Now Salming has the puck at his own end, feeds up on the near side, shoved into the Flyers zone weakly by Sittler, dug out by Lonsbury, looks up the slot and clears right past everyone the length of the ice, curls around Thomas into the far corner of Leaf zone, touched up by Turnbull.
Speaking about Boston, they'll try to nail down their series on the West Coast against Los Angeles starting at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Boston leads in that series 3-2, but Terry, the way Rogie Vachon has come back in that series, hard to tell.
home ice out there, and as you mentioned, on the West Coast. Logie's a tough little goaltender. He can pull anything off. Captain Bobby Clark out there trying to get our fellows back on the track again, get a goal and get us back in the game. I talked to Clark in between periods, and I asked him if he knew that McDonald and Sittler were sort of taking runs at him. He said, yeah. He said, I'm well aware of it. He said he saw Sittler coming that last time, but just only managed to get partway out of the way when Sittler took the elbowing penalty on him.
All right, the Leafs took off the Sittler line. The Flyers took off Clark, put out McLeish. Then Red Kelly put back Sittler, and now McLeish is going off. And let's see what referee Dave Newell does. He said, So again, for the first time, we see Red Kelly jockeying to get the Sittler line away from Clark and Lonsbury.
Ricky will be asking Freddie how long he wants them to stay out against this line, or if they want them, as soon as they get good possession or get the puck deep in the Leaf zone, come straight off. So possibly Freddie will say, come straight off as soon as you get good possession in the Leaf zone.
In fact, the Flyers trio out there is standing up and ready to come back on as it's iced by Joe Watson. And after it is Turnbull, and he'll touch up, and let's see if Leach, Lonsbury, and Clark come back on, and they will if Sittler stays out.
I would have to think that if Sittler is changed, that the Flyers will try to counter with it. Flyers board chairman Ed Snyder across the way watching, along with general manager and vice president Keith Allen and their respective wives. Interested spectators here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens tonight. Harold Ballard not looking all that happy in the pillbox across the way.
Well, Clark did come out against Sittler, who remained out until Clark got in the face-off circle, and that line went off. And Thompson came out with McKinney and Ferguson, Turnbull and Salming. Flyers defensive pairing. Joe Watson back to the point to Salming. Goes on the backhander. Weak shot deflected. Thompson tries to keep it in. Kicked out to Lonsbury on the off wing. Comes through with Clark. Clark tripped up at the Leaf line, and Jim McKinney turns with Ferguson on his left. Right up the middle of the Philadelphia line. Rolls in on Stevenson. Glove saves and pokes it past Ferguson. Right onto the stick of Thompson. A Turnbull. And his shot off the glove sand of Stevenson as the Flyers gave that shot up. Here comes Leach through to the Leaf line. Going into the near corner. Puts one wide of Thomas as he was slowed down by Salming. And here comes Errol Thompson away to Salming at center with Ferguson and McKinney on his right. Salming over the line. Backhander. Stevenson the save as Salming appears now more desirous of taking charge offensively than he has in the earlier games. They dump it into the zone, hits Joe Watson. He tries to clear out. Salming going to go right into the slot. He's hooked, and no penalty is called as out comes Dornhofer up ice against Pelech. Can't reach the puck, and Pelech takes Dornhofer down as Ferguson with the puck turns in his own end and lifts it up to Salming on the right wing. Rolls it through for McKinney, chasing it with Tommy Bladen. Pokes it past Bladen and then falls down as he had to make the off-balance move, and Piers have done some straining as he gets up very slowly now and cuts off to the Leaf bench as Tom Bladen avoids the forechecking of Ashby and sends it away to McLeish, who crisscrosses at center with Barber. Shot wide of Thomas by McLeish from center ice. Rolled through into the neutral zone by Pelech. There is Rick LaPointe circling back at his own line, dumps it deeper to DuPont away from the forechecking of Ashby. Has Billy Barber with it now. Away on the far side, and LaPointe at the Leaf line fires it in the corner right of Thomas. Ricochets it on the goaltender, pokes it free to Boutet. And Boutet up on the near wing, away too far at center ice for Ashby. Taken by LaPointe, through to Selesky to Kenrichuk. He can't read it. Pelech dumps it out the center to Ashby. Taken away by Rick LaPointe again. Has to roll it back to his line for DuPont. Waiting for his line to clear out of the zone to Selesky. Selesky taken out by Pelech. Still tries to jam it into the zone. Blocked the second time. And finally, Rick LaPointe does get it down behind Wayne Thomas. 3 there. And holding the puck is Borja Salming. As Ashby is aligned with Neely and Boutet, and the Flyers go Kenrichuk with Bridgman and Selesky. Here up ice comes Pelech along the near side at center ice. Rolls it through looking for Boutet, who didn't see it and preceded the puck offside. 17-18 remaining second period. 1-0 Toronto.
There's been a change in the official scoring on the Toronto goal. Instead of Williams getting an assist, they've given it to Borja Salming.
Play in center ice. Now over the line comes Warner. Back pass to Boudreau down in the offensive right wing corner. Bunched out by Bob Daly. Warner trips over Jimmy Watson's stick and falls on the puck in the near corner, and not only suffers that ignominy, but has the faceoff come to center ice.
I'm guessing that Boudreau had thoughts about going after Jim Watson on that situation until he saw the count alongside of him. Borja Salming constantly being discussed as whether he or Larry Robinson is the top defenseman in the NHL today.
All right, that's the Warner, Boudreau, and Evans young kid line up from Oak City. Here comes Kenrichuk through, dumped off the stick at center. Rolled back into the Leaf zone behind Thomas by Zaleski. Rolls to the near corner. Warner bumped by Kelly is out there along with Zaleski. Kindrachuk steals. Front to Bird. Shot! And he fired it over the top of the net. And he hit the right place as Thomas went down, but he missed the corner. Now Kindrachuk back to the right point. Bob Daly a bouncing puck and scales it about 8 rows into the second deck.
That's been Daly's problem, Terry, all through this playoffs, is not getting his shots on net.
As much as you want to, and you talk to the count, and he says that he's trying his best to get that thing low on the net, just to cause a little bit of trouble. I don't know if it's something that you inherit or just over the years you develop, but all his shots go up high off the side of the net. If he ever gets it on target, we're going to get a fistful. That last shift out there, the Port Credit Comment, Bob Kelly come out, started to stir things up. We've said so often, Don, he's quite capable of doing that every shift out there.
Sittler, McDonald, Williams, Turnbull, and Salming, Lonsbury, Leach, Clark, along with Bladen. Here comes McDonald, flipping it over center ice, taking a bump from Bladen as everyone is late getting in, and Joe Watson looks on the near side, goes back behind the net. Owen offensive right wing corner to Bladen, up ice to the Flyer line. Here comes Bobby Clark, gives it away to Turnbull at the leap line, too far up ice, trying to headman Salming and Sittler. And here comes the Flyers, Lonsbury and Clark over the line against Salming. Drop past Clark. He had Leach in front. Couldn't hit him with a pass. Lonsbury tied up. Centers Wayne Thomas blocks it smartly with a stick. McDonald's pulled down. Tries to get past Clark, who slaps it back in along the near side. And it's lifted out of the rink off the stick of Borja Salming on a deflection with Ross Lonsbury touching up last.
Good forechecking by Bobby Clark down there, Gene. Just persistent. Lanny McDonald trying to come out of that end. Clark just wouldn't give him any room to skate whatsoever. Just stuck to him like glue and forced the face-off in their end zone.
Dave Tiger Williams very smartly got in the way of that Clark attempted pass to Leach, who was wide open cutting down that right side on that last shift. Incidentally, a little late, but better late than never, Keith and Joyce Allen. Joyce and Keith Allen celebrating their 29th wedding anniversary today, and what better gift than to wrap up this quarterfinal series against Toronto.
Salming retreats away from Clark, bumped off behind the net, breaks free, kicks it far corner where Leach will battle for it with Ferguson. Bounces out to Turnbull. He loses it. Again, it's Leach right in front of his own net to Clark. Tries a shot. Gets it again. Scores! He scores! Bobby Clark.
There it is again, Don. That second effort by Bobby Clark. He never quits up, never loses sight of that puck. He shot it. It was stopped. He picked up his own rebound and put it off both posts and in.
I was just going to say, a bit of a billiard shot there by Clarkie.
Nice play by Reggie Leach also to come out of the corner, get in front of Wayne Thomas to screen him so Clarkie gets a good shot. Clarkie intercepts that errant pass by the Maple Leaf player. Right here, he shoots it, hits the defenseman, comes right onto his stick. Clarkie a quick wrist shot high, off the post, ping in the far side, ties this game at 1-1, and we've seen this so often right there. Clarkie never takes his eye off that puck, and that's one thing about it. You don't turn your back on that puck if you don't have to.
For Clark, his third playoff goal.
I'll tell you, Terry, one of the rare times that you'll see Salming Blake block a shot and then be out of position for the rebound. And up along the near side, Errol Thompson with a score tight, streaking at center for the Leafs. Over the line on the top of the right wing circle. Backhander high over the top of the net. Deflection, if so, in the face-off circle to the left of Stevenson.
Nice play by Big Bruce Dupont on that one to keep the Leaf player way out to the outside. Didn't try to do anything fancy. He just knew that he had him. Kept him out there and forced him to put it high off. Captain Bobby Clark, his fourth playoff goal, and ties this game at 1-1, and a much-needed goal for our guys to keep the spirit up and keep us rolling. Don, you're pointing to your sheet, and it says on your sheet that should only be his third playoff goal.
Oh, that's why I was
That's what I was checking.
Right. Nevertheless, we'll take it in this game to give us a 1-1 tie no matter what they want to put on their sheets.
I guess. Amen. Flyers now bring out Kindrachuk between Zaleski and Bridgman.
All right, at the circle, they try to kick it free, but Jimmy Watson takes it. He's with Bob Daly, brings it up the center, will cross that red line and fired in the near corner. Bridgman goes after with a big, strong Pat Boutet. Knocked away by Thomas. Boutet battles, but it's Randy Carlyle who's excelled as a rookie defenseman for the Leafs. Away to Neely and up at center ice. Feeds behind Ashby. Karams to the near boards in the Philadelphia end and lifted back at center by Jimmy Watson. Karams to Bob Daly. Going to make a rush, but he feeds in the open far wing. Neely beats Zaleski to it. Rolls it back into the Leaf zone to Pelech in the circle left of Wayne Thomas. Does an inside pivot. Sends it up at center ice. Tipped away by Bridgman into the Leaf zone. Carlyle up the center to Jimmy Watson. Crosses off to Zaleski. He's onside. Will fire through a screen. Blocked by Pelech to the near corner. Bridgman in there with Carlyle. Gets it up to Boutet. Away looking for Ashby. He's blocked once. Blocked the second time, but now starts out with Pelech and Neely. Ashby right up the middle. Tries to split the defense. Cuts to the inside. The Flyers have it blocked off smartly by Daly. And then Jimmy Watson away to Kindrachuk at center. Kindrachuk, a back pass. He had Zaleski, led him too far. Don fires short side. It's in the crease. And Wayne Thomas was shaky there, but the Leafs break out quickly on the right side. Bob Neely working past his man. Drop pass to Ashby over the line. He'll try to get a shot to Neely. He's pulled down. He falls down. No penalty there. The Flyers fail to clear. Played by Turnbull in the near circle. He tries to dump it in, but there is the ever-present Bobby Clarke to slide to center. Borja Salming is challenged and has to go back into the Flyer zone as he was 3-on-1 at center ice. We have an offside lead with 14:07 remaining in the second period. With the score, the Philadelphia Flyers won and the Toronto Maple Leafs won.
Double-check Clarkie's goal scoring in the playoffs this year, and that was his third. So it's Flyers 1 and the Leafs 1 as we're still early in the second period of play.
All right, the big line out for the Leafs with Salming and Turnbull, and the Flyers go McLeish with Barber and Dornhofer. Dorney picking it off at center from Sittler. Cuts to the off wing, rolls it weakly past Salming, chases it in. The Leafs defensive right wing corner. Bond out, but still behind the net. Double teamed by Tiger Williams as the puck rolls free to the near side. Joe Watson will challenge Lanny McDonald. He's beaten, and McDonald tries to get it out. Blocked by McLeish. In front from Turnbull as the Leafs getting careless, but finally recovers away from Dornhofer and scoots behind the Leaf net as Salming had been out of the play, losing his stick behind Wayne Thomas. All right, everybody swings up ice. Turnbull alongside his own net to Salming. A blind back pass through his legs to the Flyer line along the near wing, taken off by Billy Barber and shot the length of the ice, but he gets a break as it goes in on Wayne Thomas. We played 6:40 into the second period with play on. The Flyers have tied it on a goal by Clarke. Up ice Turnbull. Forechecked smartly by Billy Barber as the Flyers not allowing the Leafs to break out smartly. Now finally there is. Here comes Sittler, and he'll be trailed by McDonald over the line on the right wing. Tries to get inside Joe Watson. Play broken up. Lonsbury on the near side loses it to Salming. There's a shot knocked down. Salming rolls it in front. A shot hit the post by McDonald. As it cleared into the front again, right through Blade to the far side. Williams with a blindsider. Wide of the net. It comes back to the near point. Salming on the backhander. Rolls it down in the near corner. Sittler, top of the right wing circle in front to McDonald.
And on goes the red light as that one appeared to go through the number 5 hole, Terry.
Lanny McDonald in an ever-present spot where he's been this whole series, right down the middle of the slot, and Darryl Sittler has been doing this whole series. Found him loose there again, fed a pass out to him, like just spreads it through Captain Bobby Clarke to his feet. Lanny McDonald gets it, full tilt, a quick wrist shot. Our defenseman went down to screen it in front of Steph. I think possibly blocking Steph's view just a little bit. Right low on the ice between Steph's pad, and Lanny McDonald gives Toronto a 2-1 lead with 12:43 remaining in the second period.
Sittler and Salming combine again as they combined on the first goal for Turnbull to give the Leafs a 2-1 lead at 7:17 of this, the second period of play.
Now you wonder if Wayne wasn't guessing a little bit because McDonald has gone up on him all night, all through the series, that time along the ice. Now, boom, Boudreau knocks him off in front. The puck comes to the blue line. Shot blocked away from Pelech by Zaleski, and here comes Kindrachuk smartly to his own line as the Leafs put the young kids out there to see if they can stir up some more brouhaha. Puck rolls down behind Thomas to the near side. Bob Kelly loses it to Carlisle up on the near side to Bob Warner. He fails to get it out. Now Carlisle ties up Kelly, who kicks it behind the Philadelphia net. Warner overskates. Zaleski behind the net, kicks it free. Kelly looks to center. It comes out in front. Nobody there but Mike Pelech, and he clears it all the way down the ice, and the Leafs will be called for icing as it's touched up now by Rick LaPointe.
Kelly held down on the ice deep in the Toronto zone for what appeared to be an indeterminate amount of time. 11:59 to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Toronto. Back here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens, Flyers have pretty much been the team that come from behind throughout most of this series, and they face that situation again here tonight in Toronto.
Ferguson out there with McKenny and Thompson, Turnbull and Salming. The Flyers go Barber, Dornhofer, and McLeish. Centering right through the goal mouth. Blocked to Bob Daly through a screen. Knocked in front by Dornhofer, who's wrapped up by Turnbull. Pulled down, and Turnbull's going to get off. In front of Billy Barber, a shot. Tip save. Back to Barber. A shot in on the net by Daly. Grabbed by Salming, and now Turnbull's going to go off on the hold against Dornhofer.
Only the second penalty of the game against the Leafs, and thus only the second power play opportunity that the Flyers have enjoyed thus far. Time of this call comes at 8 minutes and 18 seconds as Turnbull will go off for holding. Hey, don't forget about that 10th anniversary edition of the Flyers yearbook. The nostalgia section just loaded with pictures of the Flyers' early years. Your price, $2 at the Spectrum. By mail, $2.50. Send your request to Champion Publications. They're at Box 2429, Philadelphia 19147.
So we have Ian Turnbull in the penalty box right now. Gene, a chance for us to get back in this game and tie it up.
Thomas has not looked the bellwether in this period as he did in the first. He's looked a little shaky. All right, Ferguson out along with Thompson. And they go Tracy Pratt on for the first time. Back to the far point to the Count Daly. Holds. He's got Barber on the near point. Right corner to McLeish in front to Clark. Clark a backhanded Leach. Oh, and Thomas guessed beautifully as Leach tried to poke it through him from the crease. Now Billy Barber from the point. Knocked down in front by Salming. Cleared to the near side. Leach digs it out. Holds. Wants to set up a play from the right wing boards. Holds along the near circle. Gets it back to Billy Barber at the point. Rolling puck shot. And Thomas grabs it as the alley was open right up the middle and he saw it all the way.
Everywhere Clarkie went on that particular play, you saw Borje Salming. They came darting out of that left wing corner, and there was Salming right on his back.
Bobby Clark right there just didn't get good on his backhand. He passed it across to Reggie. Reggie had the whole side of his net, but just missed it by a tick, and in this instance, an inch as good as a mile was in tying it, and Thomas is moving with him, so we still have 1:37 remaining in this power play.
Had he gone on the backhand, he might have had a chance.
All right, Clark against Ferguson. Gets from Leach back to Barber. Barber holds over to Bob Daly at the right point. Right circle to McLeish. McLeish holds, still holding. Nearby pass to Leach, and he fanned as he was set up near circle. Goes back behind the net to Clark. Clark holds right behind the net. Got Leach out in front. He's got Billy Barber near side. Closing in, shot. Blocked in front. Clark with a rebound. Out to the far point. Daly at the board. Goes through a screen wide of the net. To McLeish behind the net. Tied up. Now Thompson runs over Clark. Digs it out along the near side and ices it. Flyers put on great pressure for a full minute, as that's the time remaining on the advantage. Go to Clark at center ice. He's got Lonsbury over the line. Back to Billy Barber. Weak pass, read by Borje Salming. Played up ice. Daly going over the line against Lanny McDonald. Good straight check. And he's trying to go out on the trip, although it appeared to be a good straight check, and McDonald fell over his stick. We've got 10:32 remaining in the second period with the score, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2 and the Philadelphia Flyers 1.
Chalk up another even-up call for referee Dave Newell on that one, Don. Big Count Daly is playing the puck all the way, reached over top of him, hit the puck, playing it. Referee Dave Newell coming down, called big count for holding, which, as I said, another even-up call. So 4 aside for 50 seconds when number 2, Turnbull, will come out. And then for a minute and 10, they will have the power play.
Problem is, the penalties aren't even up by a long shot.
Down behind the net, Jimmy Watson has it. They'll play 5 aside for 46 seconds. Plays back to the near side for DuPont, challenged by Neely. Back to Jimmy Watson, and away to DuPont at center. Comes with Zaleski and Kindrachuk, 3-on-2. Tries to get past Carlisle. Does into the Leaf left wing corner. Bumped hard by Pelech. Takes Pelech out. Tries to center the puck. Kindrachuk takes it away from Carlisle. Looks to center. Goes back behind the net as Pelech reads off the play. Loses it to Zaleski. Zaleski wants to dump it in. Nobody to give it to. Now it's Jimmy Watson down in the corner. Far side pass to Kindrachuk. Run at by Pelech. Still controls the puck. Wants to get it back to the point. Can't make a play. Finally, Pelech steals it away to Ashby. And Ashby behind the net. Swings to the near side. Works up on his own right wing. Plays a pass off the skate of Kindrachuk to the Leaf line on the far wing. The play is blocked as it hit Neil Armstrong, and we get a stoppage right at the Leaf line along the far side. The penalty is over to Turnbull, and the Leafs now have 1 minute and 9 seconds on the power play.
One of the fans has discarded his program in the direction of the ice, and the fracas right in front of the Flyers bench. Lanny McDonald, 16 playoff points, as he's picked up his 9th goal of the playoffs, which right now stands as the go-ahead goal.
That's also the best in the playoffs now, moving him 1 ahead of Boston's Bobby Schwartz.
And of course, Darryl Sittler has broken all Leafs records with 13 assists and 18 points. And he now holds the new records in both of those departments.
All right. We've got the big 3 out there. Sittler, McDonald, Williams, Turnbull, and not Salming, but Jim McKinney at the right point to give Salming a little wind. He'll probably come back on in the next shift. Flyers go Clark with Lonsbury, Joe Watson with Bladen. Rink wide pass at the Flyer line. Breaking for the net is Sittler. Has a shot by McDonald is blocked. Joe Watson up into the far corner to Clark. Clark up to the near side to Lonsbury. He can't get past McKinney. They jam one another up against the near side. 4 players, now a 5th, the Leaf in there, but it's Clark away with the puck coming against Turnbull, 1-on-1. Over the line. Shot on Thomas, who makes the split and kicks it to the deep wing on the far side. Almost given away in the slot by Tiger Williams on an errant pass, but it's McKinney at center with 30 seconds left on the Leaf power play. Williams over the line. Drops to McKinney. He's going to be in, but loses it to Billy Barber. And Barber pokes it past Lanny McDonald after taking a hip check. Now it's into the Leaf zone. McKinney's still out there, along with Sittler. Right wing pass. Over the line comes Tiger Williams. He tries to slap it, and it goes off the end of the rink from the deflection by Tommy Bladen, or no deflection, and we'll get a face-off at center ice with 12 seconds left on the Bob Daly penalty. 2-1 Leafs late in the second period.
A reminder again that if the Flyers play on Sunday, it will be an 8 o'clock game, and it will be seen locally on TV 29 and heard, of course, on WCAU radio. That's if the Flyers play, whether it be against Toronto to end this series or against Boston to open that series. It will be seen on TV 29 and heard on CAU radio, and it will be an 8 o'clock start, which differs from the normal 7 o'clock Sunday night start.
All right, still the same 5 out for the Leafs, and the Flyers go Barber with McLeish, Bladen, and Jimmy Watson. Turnbull down behind the Leaf net to McDonald. Tries to give it away near side. Bladen has it, loses it back to McDonald, takes him hard into the boards. They'll jam it up, and Dave Newell quickly stops play with just 1 second left on the Bob Daly penalty.
Ironic, Terry. All of Turnbull's goals have been via the power play for the Leafs in the series this year.
We've said numerous times, Don, if their power play has been killing us so far in this series, it's kept them alive and kept them moving. So we said it umpteen times, we've got to quit taking penalties against this club.
Well, they've got 9 of their 17 goals in the power play. They keep that average almost 1 out of every 2 in the 2 years of playoffs against the Flyers. Now McLeish and Sittler go at it, and McLeish is dumped out of the circle to the left of Stevenson. It'll be Billy Barber. Goes right out to the point. Sounding lost to Barber, who comes out now with Daly, and over the line. McLeish couldn't reach it. Down to the offensive right wing corner. Drop pass to Barber. He's on the backhand to the point. Tommy Bladen in on the net. Rebound. They fight for it. McLeish looks to shoot it. No play as they were jammed up in front. Back to the point. Bladen through 16 players. Knocked down in front by Lanny McDonald to Turnbull, and he just flips it up on the far boards into the Flyer zone as the Leafs stayed calm. Nowhere to fire that one through. Barber at center ice. Looks through for McLeish over the line. Broken up smartly by Pellick and lifted down the ice by Bob Warner, who's out there now, along with Evans, and now Boudreau will join them shortly. Pass by Barber along his own wing is cleared away by Salming back to Jimmy Watts, who lifts the center ice. 7:45 left in the period. Leafs drive it back into the Flyer zone. Cutting across is Boudreau. Takes on Jimmy Watson, who can't get it out. Now Werner is in there with Watson and Boudreau, and we get a stoppage of play as the young kid line being used with effect by Red Kelly. We have 7:37 remaining in the second period of this Game 6 of the quarterfinal round playoffs with the Leafs.
That's the guy they are now calling Pappy Bernie Parent. Bernard Marcel Parent, who's looking on intently from the Flyers bench across the way.
I'd point out with DuPont, and the Flyers go Kindrachuk with Kelly and Don Selesky. Kelly on the near side, tied up by Evans, tries to get out. Boudreau keeps it in. Warner breaks for the net, tries to dump it in. Does Warner, blocked along the near side by Evans. Back to Boudreau, centering pass from the slot. Deflects to Selesky, too far up ice for Kindrachuk. Deep into the Leaf zone to the right of Wayne Thomas. Grabbed by Pellick, tied up by Bob Kelly, and in comes Boudreau, 19-25, Warner, and 26, Kindrachuk to get a stoppage of play.
Well, thus far, the injury to Mike Palmateer and the fact that he's through for the playoffs and the insertion of Wayne Thomas, who's been the backup, has made little, if any, difference thus far, Terry.
Don, like we said, if Reggie had put those 2 early ones in, if the Skiffs would all be sailors, hit 2 posts early in the game, puts them behind the 8 ball, and then we said, at the expense of repeating myself, reiterating it, penalties have hurt us once again in this game, but our fellows are still in there. It's only a 2-1 game, and we're plugging away, starting to carry it. And with the amount of players they're using, Don, we've mentioned it throughout this series, they're only going with 7 or 8 players. It's got to start to tell on them eventually.
Well, I think he knows that. That's why he's using that young trio line, giving the other 2 lines breathers. Trying to go with 4 full now. All right, back to the point. Jimmy Watson has no shot. Rolls it past Finn down behind the Leaf net, but Salming reads it. Works away from Kindrachuk. He can't get it out as his pass hits Dave Newell. Back passes to the point. Bob Daly. Rolling puck. Shot wide of Wayne Thomas's. Daly still not having luck getting on the net. Boutet up ice to Neely. Over the line on the right wing at the top of the circle. Swept off the stick by Jimmy Watson to the far side to Daly. Runs into Neely, but Ashby back to Turnbull at the point. His shot well wide of the net. And it's played by Jimmy Watson up here to Mel Bridgman. Rink-wide pass to Kindrachuk at the lead line with Zaleski. Gets past Turnbull, down on the right wing corner, goes behind the net. To the near side, he's got Zaleski. Doesn't hit him with a pass. Now back to the far side. He'll go to Daly at the point. Bob winds up with a drive. That catches the stick and deflects out of the rink, and we'll have a face-off just inside the Leaf blue line along the far side of the ice to our left. 2-1 Toronto.
Ron Finn moves over to the spot about 6 feet inside the Toronto blue line on the Flyers' right wing as out come the Gunners. Leach is out there along with Lonsbury, and Clark in the middle with Tom Bladen and Joe Watson defensively. Flyers lead in games 3-2, trying to nail down this quarterfinal round here tonight, and as has been the case throughout most of this series, adversity is the problem right now as they're playing catch-up, trailing 2-1.
Lonsbury, Leach, Clark against Ferguson, McKenny, and Thompson. Tom Bladen winds and curls it around the boards to the near side of the Leaf zone. Lonsbury tries to poke it past McKenny. Can't. Carlisle in. Ferguson and Joe Watson up the slot. Looks for a man to feed to right in front, and he had Dornhofer, who runs into Wayne Thomas, who pushes him off, and the Leafs shoot it out to center ice. Joe Watson drives it back in, knocked down in front of the Leaf net by the glove of Pellick. Clears up in the far wing. Tom Bladen has it, loses it at center ice, pokes it past Thompson into the Leaf zone where it's crossed near side to Randy Carlisle. Up the middle, had a chance to penetrate, but wound it around the boards to the far side of the Flyers zone. McLeish in there, loses it to Ferguson, who's tied up by Dornhofer. In there is Bladen. It's kicked out to McLeish, to Bladen. Bladen rolls it into the neutral zone. 5:45 left in the second period. 2-1 Leafs. Flyers tied it on an unassisted goal by Clark. And then Lanny McDonald from Sittler and Salming got the Leafs to lead again as up ice. The play by Lonsbury through to McLeish. Deep into the Leaf zone along the near side. Carlisle and McLeish go at it. Dornhofer takes a run at Carlisle. The puck now taken by Ferguson, who's run out by Dornhofer, goes down, sits on the puck. I think Dave Newell will call a stoppage with a face-off from the circle left of Wayne Thomas. We've got 5:21 remaining in the second period here at Maple Leaf Gardens. With the score, the Toronto Maple Leafs leading the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1.
There's Dorney in front of there again. He's running into Wayne Thomas this time. Just sort of over top of him. Right here, Wayne Thomas gives him a shove to let him know that he's not setting up house in his goal crease tonight at all. But Mr. Real Estate Gary Dornhofer just loves that little acreage out in front there. And he's a past master. Right now, I think that they're overlooking, and if it's the old look-see job, the contact lens again they're looking for.
Dorney took a header as he was double-teamed, hit high and low, and dumped on that last foray toward the Toronto net and behind it, and that's what they're looking for right now.
Usually in a section like that when they're doing that, always the guy that's the most blind on your team that finds that stupid thing too. When it's the same shade of ice, he looks down, picks it up, and says, "There, you need this."
Feeling around Toronto today, especially from Coach Red Kelly, is the Leafs are due to win one on their home ice. They have had a miserable home ice record down the stretch during the regular season, and they haven't won one yet here in the playoffs this year.
The fans don't particularly like the stoppage and play here for one of our fellows to look for a contact lens, so I think Dorney has given up now. The referee has called for the face-off and back into action again, Gene.
All right, Sittler, Thompson, Sittler, Williams, and McDonald out with Turnbull and Salming, and the Flyers go Leach, Lonsbury, Clark, LaPointe with DuPont to the left of Wayne Thomas. And the Flyers have had some good opportunities, but they've not been able to pepper Thomas as they did Palmateer through most of the game. LaPointe at the point, down to the right wing corner. Short side angle shot well wide of the net to DuPont near side. Goes back around behind the net, curls it up on the far side to Williams. Now LaPointe tries to go back behind the net, blocked by Turnbull. They jam it up against the far boards in the Leaf zone. And just as Sittler dug it out, we get a stoppage. And quickly the linesman in there to separate Lonsbury from Tiger Williams.
The Tiger and Ross Lonsbury taking double takes and glaring looks at one another. Rather surprised when we came in here tonight, Terry. A Maple Leaf sign down in the corner to our right says, "Tiger, you're a pussycat." So it would appear as though maybe some of the Leafs fans figure that he's not playing the role that got him there.
But one thing you can bet, he's not going to fish Ross Lonsbury in for a foolish penalty. Ross has been around too many years to let a kid like him do anything foolish to him.
Clark and Sittler to the tops of the circle to the left of Wayne Thomas. Kicks to the near side. Lonsbury, weak shot wide of the net from 20 feet as he didn't have much mustard on the backhander. And it's Turnbull looking up ice of the Leaf breaking, and he's got his man too far for Williams. That'll be an icing as it's caught up to by Jimmy Watson, caroming out in front of Wayne Stevenson to our right.
Speaking about Ross Lonsberry, he just in time noticed McDonald breaking up the right wing. The lead pass went to Sittler, but Ross quickly made up the ground and covered McDonald as he did so well on in Game 5. Pair of Waynes right there.
Wayne Thomas on your left, Wayne Stevenson on your right, 12 and 14 shots respectively.
Well, the Flyers have only had 5 through 15 minutes of this period. Like I say, they've been averaging 39, but not this time. There's a play out, kept in smartly by Daly, but to no control for Philadelphia. They dump it out. Here comes Sittler, putting pressure on the Philadelphia defense. He'll drive one on Stevenson from the blue line. Routine save, cleared up to Jimmy Watson, and he pokes it past Salming, past Turnbull, the length of the ice. Racing after it is Thomas to take it away from Reg Leach. Clear, but not out of. Hops over Clark's stick to Daly along that right wing boards. Right in front to Daly. Shot, score! As the Leafs cough it up again, and the count.
And guess who sets it up again? Mr. Double C, Captain Clark.
And Bobby Daly gets his second goal of the playoffs to go along with 6 assists, as he is now tied Rick McLeish for the team leadership in total points.
Nice play by Bobby Clark to find Count Daly right in the slot by himself. He comes in with a quick wrist shot, as you said, Don, right through the 5-hole of Wayne Thomas. Look at Captain Bobby Clark on the far right wing. Just threads it right through. Ross Lonsberry heads to the net to create the diversion. The Count walks in and just puts a good wrist shot, a quick wrist shot. Tie this game up at 2-2. 4:24 remaining in the second period.
1 goal, 2 goals. Right down behind the net, touched up by Clayton, gives it away behind the net. They try to center it, does Bruce Boudreau, as out to Evans and Warner. I'll tell you, Terry, when this line gets a little more experienced, they're going to add some real moxie to this Leaf club in future years. Here comes Clayton up ice. Throw to Bridgman. He's over the line past Carlisle. Couldn't make the break in on the net. And the puck rolls to Wayne Thomas. Tries to get past Bridgman, who keeps it in, pokes it past Carlisle, cuts inside of him, tries to go behind the Leaf net, skated off. And now it's Bob Warner trying to tie it up. Tries to tie it up again, wraps it around to the far side. And there is Evans to work it out smartly. Here comes Boudreau. He's over the line, 50-footer. And Stevenson is saved. Boudreau in front again. Couldn't find the handle. As they left him uncovered on that far side, here comes Selesky breaking up 2-on-2 with Bridgman. The Bird over the line, past Pellick. Angle shot past Wayne Thomas, and here come the Leafs. And we're going to get penalties on both sides. I think Bridgman is going off with Carlisle.
And they're eyeball to eyeball right down below us at the Toronto blue line. All of this coming at 16:36. Just exactly a minute after the Flyers had tied this game. It'll be Bridgman for the Flyers, Carlisle for the Leafs. Bob Daly scoring the game tire as it stands right now. Clark getting the lone assist. As we said, Daly now is tied with McLeish for most total points for the Flyers in the playoffs. Jim Watson. They were naming Jim Watson, but I think it should be Bridgman. It's Bridgman for cross-checking.
Jim Watson, cross-checking for Toronto, Randy Carlisle.
And Carlisle gets slashing. They continue to announce Jim Watson, but it's number 10, Mel Bridgman, and he's in the Flyers box directly down below us. So both teams will play a man short, barring anything additional for the next 2 minutes of play. There's 3:24 left in middle period action.
There's an eyeball-to-eyeball look with Leaf defenseman Mike Pellick and Carlisle and Bridgman as they correct the scoring at 16:36. Flyers have trailed twice and have tied twice. Ashby out there along with Salming, Neely, and Turnbull. McLeish back to the point. Daly threw a screen wide. Back to the near side. Leach on the backhander has to go behind the net to McLeish. Tied up by Turnbull, tripped up. Out comes Salming with the puck. Lifts to Ashby along his own right wing. Cuts through the slot. Up ice to Turnbull. He'll try to rush it through. Now here comes Ashby. Ashby almost had the break of the Flyers. Leach and McLeish 2-on-1. Over the line, McLeish. Going right in on. He tried to fake the shot and then lost it off a stick. And here comes Salming. He'll go all the way. Watch out. Over the line against DuPont. Cuts to the inside. Centering pass. He shot in front. Ashby tried to get it on the rebound, but it caromed into the side of the goalpost. And Stevenson sat on it.
And DuPont making sure as he drives Neely away from in front of Wayne Stevenson. Stevenson finally corralling that rebound around the net to his left and slapping the glove hand on it. Salming's always dangerous when he rushes the puck across that blue line, and several Leafs observers have said that the Leafs are only dangerous when he does that. And normally that is the case because Salming can control the tempo of a game when he penetrates the defensive zone. Face-off will be in the circle to the left of Stevenson. We're down to 2:48 left in the middle period. Red Kelly checks the clock. Fred Sherrill looks down at his shoes.
The only reason I can think Salming hasn't done that more, realizing he's going to have to go 40 minutes a game, he's got to conserve. Down behind the net, Jimmy Watson swings past Ferguson. Up on the center ice area to Clark. Can't handle it. And it's slapped back in by Errol Thompson alongside Stevenson's left. Thompson chases Bladen. It comes out in front of his net. Passes off Clark's skate. Thompson tried to keep it in with a hook check, but Clark back at center. Over the line. Sweep check by Salming. And the Flyers quickly drop back as Thompson up ice. Lets it go to Tracy Pat up the middle. Fires it wide of Stevenson. Rebound comes out to the near circle. And here comes Jimmy Watson. Past McKenney at center ice. He'll challenge Salming at the Leaf line along the near wing. Holes. Salming takes it right off his stick, and you just can't get close to him with that long angular reach. Back to the Flyers line. Played past Tiger Williams. Clark can't control. The Leafs penetrate. Tiger Williams fires it off Stevenson's stick behind the Philadelphia net. Here it comes up to Billy Barber smartly from Jimmy Watson as he stick handles the center by himself. Rolls it through past Salming as the Flyers make a complete unit change, bringing out DuPont with Daly. They've got Kindrachuk out there with Lonsbury. They're still playing five aside. Salming at the Flyer line, offside, as he cut and crisscrossed with Williams, who went in up the slot about a half stride too quickly.
And Williams made the mistake of getting behind Bob Daly, and once he was in that zone, there's no way in the world that Daly was going to let him out, and that's what's forced the offside call. Face-off will be outside the Flyers line on their right wing as Sittler is back on for the Leafs. He'll draw against Oris Kindrachuk. 18 seconds left in the dual minors to Bridgman and to Carlisle.
There's a guy that scored 5 goals in the game against Detroit, Ian Turnbull, and Orr never got 4 in the game. Don't forget Terry Crisp will be downstairs, and right after the intermission begins, he'll be talking to checker Ross Lonsbury before we come back here for the wrap-up, and our guests as intermission activities will continue. At center ice, Sittler with McDonald and Turnbull with Salming against Daly with DuPont, and the Flyers go Kindrachuk with Lonsbury. 12 seconds left, and we'll get Carlisle back with Bridgman as up ice comes Sittler. He'll challenge the Flyers along the near side, tries to get past Kindrachuk to Salming, back to Sittler. He'll get it wide to the short side using DuPont as a screen. McDonald back to the point. Into the corner, right out here comes Salming. Bridgman tried to read the play and dives as Stevenson pokes it off the far side. The puck rolled just a little off the stick of Salming toward the slot, and he couldn't reach it. Here comes Daly back up ice, past Sittler. Doesn't want to tangle with McDonald, dumps it to the open near wing where it's blocked down by the Salming again. Played on a slapper by DuPont the length of the ice, rolls behind the Leaf goal line, and that's what the call will be as we enter the last minute of play in this period, deadlocked at 2.
Boston will attempt to wrap up their quarterfinal series against the Los Angeles Kings. That game in the Forum on the coast later tonight, due to start at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Bringing the puck deep in the Flyers zone, and a few of the Flyers having a few words with a few of the Leafs. Williams jawing with Jim Watson right now, as the Flyers now have out there Clark, Barber, Dornhofer, and they're going to make a change as Sittler now heads for the Leafs bench.
The musically appropriate organist is playing the Minute Waltz by Chopin. And it just ended. So I guess we've had fooling around for a minute. We've got 57 seconds remaining in the period, Don, and it's a grinder.
As every one of them has been thus far, especially those in this building.
But the real pressure has to be on the Leafs now. They've got to win, and they've got the young kids out there again. 25 Warner, 19 Boudreau, 16 Evans. The Flyers go Clark, along with Barber and McLeish. Back to the point. Carlisle has trouble with it. Have no shot. Tries to get it in. Clark knocks it down, and up to McLeish along the left wing. Comes with Barber. Over the red line. Dumps it right into Carlisle's midsection, and he clears as it drops to his feet. Joe Watson from center ice. In on Thomas, who gloves it with 40 seconds left in the period. Lays it off behind the net for Evans. And up ice to Boudreau. He's onside. He'll get a shot from the left wing circle. Hit the post on the outside, near side. There's the youngsters at 2. Here comes Clark on a break. Over the line, a dive on Thomas. Thomas hit the post on the outside. Tries to center. Well, how about that? Post short side, post long side at both ends of the rink as we get a stoppage to the right of Thomas. With 17 seconds left in the period, still tied at 2.
And this is exactly why they call this game of professional hockey a game of inches. You might even pare it down to fractions of inches, as you had post shots at either end of the ice. This one, the second of 2 in a row by Bobby Clarke, as it clicked this one off the outside of the near side goalpost. Seconds earlier, it was Boudreau catching just a shade of the Flyers goalpost long side back at the Flyers end of the ice. 17 seconds is all that remains here in the middle period of play.
Ferguson, McKenny, Thompson, Turnbull, and Salming, McLeish, Leach, Clark, DuPont, and Daly. The Flyers literally have a power play unit out there looking for the draw and a big break in these final 17 seconds. All right, now Ron Finn is stopped as McLeish behind him, and Salming penetrated the circle to the right of Thomas, dropped, and we get another stoppage by Dave Newell, who will thus come from the far side to the near corner to check that a little bit more closely.
The weather in Toronto upon arrival yesterday and again today has been very humid. It's extremely humid up here. I've got to figure it's much the same down there.
Clark talking with Ron Finn, and now it'll be Clark and Ferguson. Again to the right of Wayne Thomas. 16 seconds left in the period. And now I think they're going to be dumped out. Ferguson is. And so is Clark. And it'll be McKenny against McLeish. Ron Finn said you weren't set right. There it is. Back near side to DuPont, and it hit him along the boards into center ice. DuPont turns up ice, over skates as he's checked by McKenny. McLeish caroms a pass to himself off the right wing boards, rolls it into the Leaf zone with 5 seconds left. Salming tries to lift it out. McLeish has it in the offensive right wing corner as the bell goes to end the second period with the score. The Philadelphia Flyers 2 and the Toronto Maple Leafs 2.
Back down here outside the Flyers dressing room, my second intermission guest, Ross Lonsbury, number 18. And every time Gene Hart O'Donoghue says, Terry, about Ross Lonsbury, he said, don't give us the same cliche you give us every time. I say, he's an honest two-way hockey player, goes up and down and wins it in the corners for you. Ross, my estimation of you. First and most obvious question, Roscoe, you've been given the duty of this whole series of checking one of the most dangerous guys in the playoffs, Lanny McDonald. Any special adjustment you've got to do to keep an eye on him, Rabbit?
Well, I think just the fact that he's such a strong hockey player that you have to be with him every little bit of time. You know, if you give him any time at all in front of the net, he's going to put it in. Obviously tonight he got I think only one good chance to score, and he put it in the net. I didn't see what had happened. I had my back to the play. The last game in here, he scored 4 goals. So very obvious you can't give him very much room, or he's going to put it in the net.
A good hockey player himself and a good man checking him. Ross, all year long you play with Dorney, Ricky McLeish on a line. In the playoffs, Freddie asked you to jump onto a line with Bobby Clarke, Reggie Leach. It's a whole new adjustment, plus the pressures of playoffs. What adjustments do you have to make playing with Reggie and Clarkie?
Well, Clarkie, as we all know, is a completely different type of hockey player than Ricky is. Ricky will take the puck and go end-to-end, and you can pick up a lot of rebounds with Ricky. Whereas with Bobby, you've got to be ready for that puck all the time because he's throwing it around and moving it. And with Reggie on the right side, you know pretty well that if it goes over there, it's very seldom it's going to come back across the ice. It's going to be on the net or in the net, and you have to be aware of maybe a long rebound coming out. So you have to play a little more defensive, I think, with... I really don't know Reggie and Bobby that well, you know, and so it's, you know, I'll stay back and watch McDonald be happy with that.
Doing a super job, Lanny, anyways, and that's what we want you for. Roscoe, we've said it numerous times in our intermissions and whatnot. The penalties, they got to be wearing down our fellas. You guys have killed them out there. You kill penalties yourself. You go on power plays. You go on regular shift. And tonight we mentioned before we just come on the air that it's awfully humid and warm out there. Are they going to take their toll on us, or are we wearing down the Leafs, being as how they're only using 7 to 8 players?
I think that it's working in reverse. I feel that killing penalties is a heck of a lot easier than working a power play because you have to work the whole ice on a power play, whereas killing penalties, you come back, you work more or less blue line to blue line. Killing penalties isn't an easy job. I shouldn't make it sound like that. But on the power play, you have to go corner to corner, end to end, and there's a lot of pushing and shoving in front of the net, and I think that it's taking the toll on them more so than us.
It's by no means an easy job, Rabbit. You guys have done a good job. Tremendous job on Lanny McDonald. Keep it up. Roscoe, thanks for joining us, giving us your views of the game, back and enjoying the fellas. And right now, upstairs to Gondola and back to Gene Hart.
When we have a 2-2 score, the Flyers tied it at 4:10. Clark in the slot intercepting. Backhand shot blocked by Salming. Got the rebound, hitting the post to the right of Wayne Thomas for his 3rd playoff goal unassisted. But moments later, at 17-17, it was McDonald his 9th goal to give him the overall playoff series lead in the NHL. from Sittler and Salming right up the slot, driving it under the pad and skate and glove of Wayne Thomas. But the Flyers got it back, and they kept plugging. Finally, at 15:36, Clark picking off a pass along the right wing boards into the slot to the trailing Daly, and he had eyeball-to-eyeball shooting range at Wayne Thomas and beat him for his second playoff goal to tie Rick McLeish in points for the Flyer leadership overall. The penalties even at 2 apiece in that period, so the Flyers have 6 of the game's 9. The shots 10-9 Philadelphia. They're tied at 17 all. 2-2 as we await the third period, and our intermission activities will continue after this.
Here at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens, after 2 periods of play, the score is tied at 2, and our guest is former Flyers goaltender, now a telecaster with the Flyers Prism Cable TV outlet, Bobby Taylor. Chief, now you know what it's like to go through not working in a pressure game like this one up here in Toronto in a hot building. You're warm, we're all warm, and he told me that he's still got butterflies, so you never take the hockey out of a hockey player. What are you feeling right now as we head into the third period?
Well, Don, I was watching the Toronto players, and I've been watching their faces, and they look like a beaten hockey club to me. They don't have the zest, they don't have the confidence like they had in the first 4 games, and it's something that you can just see it. I know the guys on the bench are sensing it, and of course I'm right down beside them, and it's like old times. I keep wanting to reach over and open that gate for them, and I'm yelling and screaming at them, and it's just like old times, and I think that's why I'm so nervous. I feel like I should have that old number 30 back on.
Well, you probably have it indelibly on your back. Crispy, who's working with us in our booth, same thing, sweaty palms, butterflies in his stomach. Of course, we're sweating simply because it's so darn humid in this building. As a matter of fact, when we came into the building, before they even put the lights on, there was a heavy layer of fog down below, which kind of indicates how warm this building really is. And, of course, when you've got heat, it does affect members of both clubs, and it's a question then of stamina. The Flyers going with more personnel should wear them down.
Oh, definitely. And this is, what Freddie talks about is character, and I think this is what he means by character, is when it really gets hot out there and every stride, every move hurts, and you just keep going. A good team with character will keep going. They'll play over that pain, that agony of that heat, the agony of fatigue. They'll play over it, and they'll play through it, and this is exactly what the Flyers have done, and they're doing it now. And I think, barring any real penalties spree by the Flyers, I think they're going to dominate them in the third period.
Of course, that's one thing the Flyers have got to stay away from, because that load that they carried in the first period, especially that 5-minute job, had to run them down quite a bit.
Oh, definitely, but the big thing about it was that I don't think they had any shots on Wayne Stevenson in that 5 minutes, and then right after it, the 2 minutes, and it was actually a mental error on the part of the Flyers by not putting a man in the box, but it's really funny that usually a referee will make them get a man in there.
Okay, we'll talk more hockey with former Flyers goaltender, now TV cast with Prism Cable TV, Bobby Taylor, right after this timeout. Goaltender Bob Taylor. And Bob, one very quick question and a quick answer if you can. You're not playing hockey now. You're seeing it through the eyes of a television camera and a microphone. What are your feelings and thoughts of the transition?
It's tough, Don, and it's a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. It's more of a mental thing than it is physically, but boy, you're worn out just as much after a broadcast. Well, almost as much as you do when you're after a game, believe me.
It's a mental pressure and not a physical pressure, that's for sure. What about the series as it's gone thus far? You were witness to that 6-5 win. We are running out of time. I'd like to slide this in right now. I had a chance to talk to former Bruins Bobby Orr, who's in the Toronto General, had a knee surgery 2 days ago, and he says to tell Barry Ashby, hey, keep checking, okay? Bob Taylor, for being our guest, these gifts for you.
To help you follow the Flyer lineup and point out LaPointe, DuPont, Kelly, Selesky, Dornhofer, Joe Watson, no points,